Hello friends, in these videos I'll be discussing important topics of biology and question based on them. Today's discussion will be on the first topic of human physiology, that is digestion and absorption. In this chapter, because majority of the questions have been asked from digestive glands, so we'll start with this very part, digestive glands. And the first digestive gland I'm taking is gastric gland. Now, gastric glands, produces gastric juice under the influence of the hormone gastrin, which is secreted from G cells of pyloric stomach. Besides this gastrin, there are two other chemicals also which stimulate the secretion of gastric juice. One is histamine, vasodilator, you are familiar with. Another is adrenaline, emergency hormone. You might have heard people who are under stress, because there is more secretion of adrenaline, they generally have acidity symptom, because this adrenaline stimulates the secretion of gastric juice. Now, gastric glands have three types of cells: mucus cells, chief cells, parietal cells. We'll discuss the function of three. First, mucus cells. They secrete mucus for lubricating the lining of gut, and second, it prevents the stomach from the injury by enzyme and HCl. Second type of cells are chief cells. Because they secrete enzymes, so these cells are also known as zymogen cells. Zyme is a term for enzymes. Then the principal enzyme in gastric juice is pepsinogen, so these cells are also known as peptic cells. So these chief cells, they secrete pepsinogen, prorenin and gastric lipase, though gastric lipase in very small amount, but two major hormones are pepsinogen and prorenin. Third type of cells are parietal cells, which are also known as auxentic cells. Now these parietal cells, they secrete HCl and Cassell's intrinsic factor. We'll discuss the function of both HCl as well as Cassell's intrinsic factor. Let's take HCl first. HCl prevents rotting of food and maintains acidic medium with a pH 1 to 2, strongly acidic. HCl converts proenzyme or inactive enzyme pepsinogen into active enzyme pepsin. Now this pepsin, when it becomes active, it digests proteins into proteoses and peptones, not up to amino acid. And this digestion occurs in acidic medium. Second function of HCl is it converts prorenin into renin. I mentioned renin probably occurs in infants, human infants. I mentioned probably because medical books don't mention renin in human in any form, in any stage. It's infant or adolescent or adult. So that is not there. But anyhow, because it's mentioned in NCERT and some other books, I'm discussing the function of renin. This renin, which is also known as by another name chymosin, remember this name, chymosin is the name for renin. It causes curdling of milk, so milk can stay for longer duration in the stomach and pepsin can act on it. I've written here compare from. Compare from renin, R-E-N-I-N. Look at the spelling. The spelling of the two are slightly different. The digestive enzyme has renin, R-E-N-N-I-N. This renin. And this renin, R-E-N-I-N, is primarily a hormone. It is secreted from kidney. I mentioned because the two look similar. Renin, in fact, that increases blood pressure. It is secreted from JG cells in kidney. While this renin I have mentioned it causes curdling of milk and digestive juice. Another important chemical which is secreted from parietal cells beside HCl is Cassell's intrinsic factor. Now this Cassell's intrinsic factor that helps in absorption of vitamin B12, which is chemically known as cobalamin or cyanocobalamin. Remember, vitamin B12 is essential for myelinization of nerve, myelin sheath formation, and second for erythropoiesis, that is what we call RBC production. Here again I have mentioned compare from erythropoietin. This is a hormone also, erythropoietin, which has similar function to vitamin B12 and that stimulates production of RBC. This hormone erythropoietin is also secreted just like renin from kidney. You might have heard the person who are under dialysis because of kidney problem or kidney is not functioning properly. In that case, they develop anemia. The reason being, kidney is not functioning, erythropoietin is not being secreted. When erythropoietin is not there, of course, RBC production will not occur. The person will become anemic. Similarly, the deficiency of vitamin B12 that also causes anemia, but this anemia is more severe. It is pernicious anemia, means fatal or harmful or injurious. So that pernicious anemia is caused because of deficiency of vitamin B12, right? Now we'll take question based on gastric glands. Now most of the questions I have seen in NEET, they are average type question. You know, there are three type of question asked in biology or other subjects. Simple, around 20 to 25%, easy type we call them. Then average type, around 60% of the questions, means maximum of the questions are average type, and say 15% or so there are difficult questions. I have selected mostly average type, or one or two there can be difficult type. First question is from 2008 All India PMT. NEET name was not there in the beginning, it was All India PMT. What will happen if the secretion of parietal cells of gastric gland is blocked with an inhibitor? Means parietal cell secretion will not be there. Means HCl will not be secreted. Now before jumping to the option, you must understand the question. You must read it carefully and then understand the question and visualize the option. What can be the right option? Right option can be either the pH will increase, or the other can be the if these parietal cells are not functioning, the proenzyme will not be activated. They will not change into active enzyme. So let's take what is given in the option. Enterokinase will not be released. Nothing concerned with gastric juice. Gastric juice will be deficient in chymosin. Remember, chymosin is the name for renin. So it will be deficient in renin. But gastric juice secretion is not under parietal cells. Gastric juice comes from by this gastric glands under the influence of, I have mentioned three, but particularly gastrin hormone. So that will not be affected. Gastric juice will be deficient in pepsinogen. Same, it will not be affected. In the absence of HCl, yes, when parietal cells are blocked, HCl will not be secreted. And pepsinogen is not converted into active pepsin. Yes, that is the answer. Correct. Fourth option is the right answer. In question 2, if for some reason the parietal cells of the gut epithelium become partially non-functional, again the answer will be similar type. You can visualize it. It was asked in 2010 final exam because that time there used to be two exams, pre and final. So this was from 2010 final. The pancreatic enzyme and especially trypsin lipase will not work. Nothing to do with that. pH of the stomach will fall abruptly. No, it will not fall. It will rise. pH will increase. If the parietal cells are not functioning, it will be 3, 4 or so. So it will rise. It will not fall. Fall means it will become more acidic. Trypsin will be more effective. Nothing to do with this trypsin. Last, let's see fourth option again. Protein will not be adequately hydrolyzed by pepsin into proteoses and peptone. Yes, this digestion of protein into proteoses and peptones that occurs in acidic medium. So if the medium is not acidic properly, pH is not being maintained, then this conversion will not occur. Answer is fourth. I'm explaining why a particular option is the right answer, why the other three are wrong. Because this is not only important that you know the right answer. As I have seen certain PMT coaching, they just mention that this is the right answer. They don't explain why the three are wrong. And this is more important because the same question will never be asked in NEET. NEET will frame every time a new question. So let's come to the third question. In a stomach, the gastric acid. I told you to read question carefully. Gastric acid. It's not gastric juice. Gastric acid means again HCl in the gastric juice. It is secreted by. It was asked in NEET 2016. Simple. It is secreted by, you know the answer, parietal cells. Let's look. Yes, third option, parietal cell. Acidic cell, there are no cell with this name. Gastrin secreting cells, no, they are G cells which stimulate gastric juice secretion. Parietal cell is the right answer. Peptic cell cannot be the answer because question is gastric acid is secreted by. That is secreted by parietal cells. Then fourth question. Which of the following gastric cells? Gastric cells means cells of the gastric glands. Again, which cell indirectly help in erythropoiesis? Now, this is a difficult question, conceptual question. It is not direct, easy or average type of question. Which gastric cells means out of the three type of cell of stomach help in erythropoiesis? And here you remember I told you with HCl the parietal cell also secrete Cassell's intrinsic factor, and the function of Cassell's intrinsic factor is absorption of vitamin B12 and function of vitamin B12 is erythropoiesis. So which cell will indirectly affect erythropoiesis? Again the parietal cells. So answer cannot be chief cells, cannot be mucous cells. Answer is parietal cells. So this is first gland I have discussed and question based on that. Second I am taking pancreas, the digestive gland, pancreas. Now pancreas, you know, is a mixed gland. We call it heterocrine gland. It is exocrine as well as endocrine. The endocrine part of pancreas is islets of Langerhans, which secrete mainly two hormone, insulin and glucagon. But here we are concerned with the digestive part. So the exocrine part is group of acinar cells. They are called acini. So that acinar cells are directly responsible for the secretion of pancreatic juice. Now this pancreatic juice is under the influence, secretion is under the influence of two hormones. One is CCK, other is secretin. Both the hormones are from duodenum. Now this CCK, the first hormone, it causes the contraction of gallbladder for the release of bile juice. But there is another function. CCK also stimulates pancreas for the secretion of more of pancreatic enzymes. Remember, enzymes amount is increased in pancreatic juice, and that's why CCK is also known as pancreozymin, because this increases the amount of zyme, means enzymes of pancreas. The second, secretin, this stimulates pancreas, but this increases the amount of fluid and bicarbonates. So that is not concerned with enzymes. So total amount will be increased, means fluid amount or bicarbonate by secretin, and the enzyme amount will be increased by CCK. That is the difference between the two. So that should be very clear. Then the pH In stomach it was 1 to 2. Here the pH is around 8, means it's alkaline. Now pancreatic juice has 6 category of enzyme: trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypolypeptidases, amylases, lipases, nucleases. Let's come to the first, trypsinogen. Again, it is inactive form. You can call it proenzyme. It is converted into trypsin in the presence of enterokinase of intestinal juice. Remember, enterokinase comes from intestinal juice. Pancreatic juice is being secreted in duodenum, and there from intestinal juice comes enterokinase. In that presence of this, means here pH is not important, this trypsinogen is converted into active trypsin. This trypsin digests proteins, proteoses and peptones which are formed in stomach into polypeptides or peptides. Another enzyme is chymotrypsinogen, that is converted into chymotrypsin in the presence of trypsin. Now once the trypsin is formed, rest conversion will occur in the presence of trypsin. It will form chymotrypsin, that is functional. This also acts on proteins, proteoses and peptones and convert them into polypeptide. The only difference, you can say why the two enzymes are present in the same juice and for the same function. Particularly the trypsinogen acts on those proteins which have a basic amino acid like lysine or arginine, while this chymotrypsinogen, it acts on protein where the amino acids are mainly aromatic type, whether it's tryptophan or phenylalanine or other, right? Now we'll come to the third, procarboxypolypeptidase. Now these are converted into carboxypolypeptidase in the presence of trypsin again. This will digest polypeptides into oligopeptides and dipeptide. Now remember, the name of enzyme is always after the name of substrate, not after the product. So polypeptides will act on polypeptide, will not produce polypeptide. It will act on polypeptide. So polypeptidases, they act on polypeptide and convert them into oligopeptides and dipeptide, rarely amino acid. Fourth category is amylase. Amylase we have heard in saliva also, alpha amylase. Here it is known as amylopsin. When we talk about pancreatic amylase, we call it amylopsin. But anyhow, function is same. It digests starch up to a disaccharide called maltose. Maltose in intestinal juice will be further digested into a glucose molecule. Fifth is lipase. In pancreatic juice, lipase is known as stepsin. Function is the same. It digests fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Because there are 3 fatty acid, 1 glycerol, that's why all these neutral fats, they are called triglycerides. Let's come to the last. Sixth, nucleases. Now nucleases digest nucleic acid, whether it's DNA or RNA, into nucleotides. Nucleotides you might be familiar with. They are monomers of nucleic acid. Now pancreatic juice digests all type of foodstuffs. Hence it is a complete digestive juice. Stomach is primarily meant for protein digestion. This is for protein, carbohydrate, lipid and nucleic acid. Now intestine, trachea and bronchi, etc., they also contain single cell glands for mucus secretion. These single cell glands are called goblet cells. Remember, they are important. So goblet glands or goblet cell means the same. Mucus has a similar function. So mucus secreted from these glands will have similar function. As I mentioned, the mucus glands in stomach, so they prevent the effect of enzymes on the wall of alimentary canal. So this is goblet cell. Now I'll take questions from NEET which are based on this pancreatic juice. Number I have given in sequence, in continuation. After 4 questions we discuss, Now this is question from AIPMT 2011 final. Again there was pre and final. So in final the question is, one of the constituent of the pancreatic juice which is poured into duodenum in human is constituent of pancreatic juice. Can trypsin be the answer? No, it cannot be. Trypsin is not poured into duodenum. It is trypsinogen which is poured. Trypsin is active form. So enzymes are always secreted in inactive form. Enterokinase, no, that comes from intestinal juice. Then third, trypsinogen. Yes, that is the right answer. The right answer could be chymotrypsinogen. But here it is mentioned chymotrypsin, not chymotrypsinogen. Otherwise that could be the right answer. So because this is active form and this is active form trypsin, they cannot be the answer. Answer is trypsinogen. Third option. Let's take question number 6. Identify the cells whose secretion protects the lining of gastrointestinal tract from various enzymes. That was asked 2019 NEET, means last year only. Question is very simple. Which protect the lining of gastrointestinal tract from enzyme attack, and that is mucous cell. And because in intestine these are not mucous cells, these are goblet cells, so answer is goblet cell. Chief cell cannot be the answer. They are present in stomach. Oxyntic cell again in stomach for HCl secretion. Goblet cells, they are present in small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, large intestine. They are present, so they secrete mucus, and mucus prevents the injury of the gut from enzymes or other chemicals. Duodenal cell, there are no cells with this name, duodenal cells. Then we take question number 6. Which of the following option best represents the enzyme composition of pancreatic juice? That was asked in NEET 2017. Let's see. Amylase, okay. Peptidase, okay, can be. Trypsinogen, right. Renin cannot be there. Renin is not the part of pancreatic juice. That's the part of gastric juice. Amylase, pepsin, no, pepsin is not the part. Peptidase, amylase, pepsin, no, again no pepsin, no renin. Let's take fourth choice. Lipase, okay. Amylase, okay. Trypsinogen, that's 2, correct. And procarboxy polypeptidase, yes, that sequence is correct. So answer is 4th. Then look at the 8th question. The enzyme that is not present in Succus entericus, though I have not discussed Succus entericus, intestinal juice, but you know the first enzyme, nuclease, it is present in pancreatic juice. So this cannot be the part of Succus entericus, right? So this completes questions based on pancreatic juice. So this is all for today. In next video I'll come with other important topic and questions. Thanks for watching and happy learning.